Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today we'll discuss two principles of language assessment, authenticity and washback. A fourth major principle of language testing is authenticity. A concept that is a little slippery to define, especially within the art and science of evaluating and designing tests. Bechman and Palmer 1996 define authenticity as a degree of correspondence of the characteristics of a given language test task to the features of a target language task, and then suggest an agenda for identifying those target language tasks and for transforming them into valid test items. Essentially, when you make a claim for authenticity in a test task, you are saying that this task is likely to be enacted in the real world. In a test, authenticity may be present in the following ways. The language in the test is as natural as possible. Items are contextualized rather than isolated. Topics are meaningful for the learner. They must be relevant and interesting. Some thematic organization to items is provided, such as through a storyline or episode. Tasks represent or closely approximate real-world tasks. The authenticity of test tasks in recent years has increased noticeably. 2 or 3 decades ago, unconnected, boring, contrived items were accepted as a necessary component of the testing. But things have changed now. Another principle of language assessment is washback. Here we will discuss washback or backwash. The term washback is commonly used in applied linguistics, but it is very interesting to note that it is rarely found in dictionaries. However, the word backwash can be found in certain dictionaries, and it is defined as an effect that is not the direct result of something. This definition has been given by Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary. In dealing with principles of language assessment, these two words somehow can be interchangeable. Washback used by Brown 2004 or backwash used by Heaton 1990 refers to the influence of testing on teaching and learning. The influence itself can be positive or negative. Hughes 2003 defines the term washback or backwash as the effect of testing on teaching and learning. For example, the extent to which assessment affects a student's future language development. Brown 2010 argues that there are certain factors that provide beneficial washback in a test. For example, it can positively influence what and how teachers teach and students learn. Washback offers learners a chance to adequately prepare. It gives learners feedback that enhance their language development. Washback is more formative in nature than summative. It provides conditions for peak performance by learners. In large-scale assessment, washback refers to the effects that tests have on instruction in terms of how students prepare for the test. Washback also includes the effects of an assessment on teaching and learning prior to the assessment itself, means on preparation for the assessment. The challenge to teachers is to create classroom tests that serve as learning devices through which washback is achieved. Students' incorrect responses can become windows of insight into further work. Their correct responses need to be praised, especially when they represent accomplishments in a student's interlanguage. Teachers can suggest strategies for success as part of their coaching role. Washback enhances a number of basic principles of language acquisition. For example, intrinsic motivation, autonomy, self-confidence, language ego, interlanguage, and strategic investment, among others. We can improve washback by using these ways: to comment generously and specifically on test performance, through a specification of the numerical scores on the various subsections of the test. Formative versus summative tests. Formative tests provide washback in the form of information to the learner on progress towards goals. Summative tests provide washback for learners to initiate further pursuits, more learning, more goals, and more challenges to face. Washback can be positive or negative. According to Cheng and Curtis 2008, positive washback has beneficial influence on teaching and learning. It means teachers and students have a positive attitude towards the examination or test and work willingly and collaboratively towards its objective. So a good test should have a good effect. For example, UN national examination will require students to pay attention to the lessons more attentively, prepare everything dealing with UN more thoroughly, learn the lessons by heart, and so on. UN will also require teachers to teach the lessons harder than before, give their students extra lessons, and give tips and tricks to study effectively and efficiently. To the extent that these activities increase such activity and motivation, the UN can be said it has positive washback. Cheng and Curtis 2008 have also defined negative washback. Negative washback does not give any beneficial influence on teaching and learning. So we can say that tests which have negative washback is considered to have negative influence on teaching and learning. For example, if the UN affects teachers to give more focus on the UN lessons, then they tend to ignore other lessons that do not contribute directly to pass the exam. The UN can be considered having negative washback. Moreover, if the UN threatens the students in facing the exam, the students will feel a lot of anxiety about the exam. They have to pass the UN, otherwise they will fail. The consequence surely will affect students in facing the UN. They will feel that they are under pressure. Thus, it will affect the students' performance. Then it can be inferred that if the UN has this kind of effect, it has negative washback. Thank you very much.